Now, this is an advice from you there because you have given so many webinars, you have interacted with so many aspiring students from the last few years. Should a student take GRE at home or should they just be in wait and watch mode? Can I cheat in this exam? What is your answer to this? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the official YouTube channel of GREH. Over the past few months, the prevailing situation has created a lot of uncertainty among our higher studies aspiring students. We try our best to keep all of you updated through regular webinars, YouTube posts, Instagram posts, and blog posts. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, I would recommend you to subscribe it immediately. I've also mentioned the link of the Instagram page. Please follow us there to get regular updates. Now, with our webinars, our blog posts that we do regularly, we get a lot of questions every day. One such question that we predominantly get is taking the GRE from home. Now, we wanted to provide you with the most authentic answers possible. How could we do that? So, one of our colleagues here at GREH, Mr. Uday, he volunteered to take the GRE at home with one sole objective to understand all the aspects and share his experience with you. Uday has been working with the student welfare team for a long time. He's the one responsible for getting the WordBot launched, which is a word learning tool. The link of word learning app WordBot is also mentioned below. You can click on that and download that for your GRE preparation. So let's welcome Uday. Without any further ado, let's get started. So the first question that we have for Uday here is that, how was your experience taking the GRE, Uday? Was it overwhelming? Was it difficult? Was it easy? How was it? Can you share your experience with us?
So the GRE exam was pretty comfortable at home. It was seamless experience. Previously, we used to go to center and give the test, but it is now at home. So environment is different, but the actual test, the difficulty, everything is quite similar to the computer-based test that we used to give earlier.
All right. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. Booking GRE date is what is the first step for taking the GRE. So how did you go about booking the GRE date? Was it different? Was there anything different from the center-based test?
Yeah, there's a bit of difference between center-based test and GRE at home. So previously when we used to pay the GRE fee in ETS website, we had to book our date before we pay the exam. So now the difference is we have to pay the amount first, and then after some time, Proctor you will send you an email through which you can book your date. So the difference is you won't be able to know on which date you're giving while you're paying your GRE fee.
Okay, so you will not be knowing which date you are giving while you are paying your GRE fee. Earlier, you were able to select a date and then pay. This time, that option is not available, is what you are saying.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Okay. So that's the difference that I would want everybody to note here. Now, with respect to the GRE dates, were they available or were they booking fast?
As of now, I would also like to add a point that since GRE at home is relatively new now, the number of slots could be higher. From what I've noticed, I booked my date on Monday, so the dates were not available for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But from Thursday, almost all the dates are available with slots available for every 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So this is one information that I would want to pass on to all the viewers here. It is quite easy to be in the wait and watch mode. Okay, you'll say, okay, let's wait, let's things settle down, and then I'll take my GRE. I would strongly recommend you not to do that. Okay, this is based on the experience interacting with a lot of students. Things will settle. Okay, all this coronavirus, whatever situation is there now, this will settle. You have this time in your hands. Use this effectively. Prepare for GRE. Get a high GRE score. Build your profile so that you can get into a good university abroad. So don't lose the time that you have. This is one thing that I wanted to share with all of you. So coming back to the experience over there, on the day of GRE, what all documents did you carry over there?
So I just carried my driving license with me. The important thing to notice, a photo valid ID proof is needed.
Okay, okay. A photo valid ID proof is needed. All right. So see, there are a lot of other aspects. This is for the viewers here. There are a lot of other technical aspects. There are a lot of system requirements. There are a lot of things. They're not too difficult, but there are a lot of aspects there what we have done is that we have created a checklist with all the requirements, system requirements, and other softwares that you need to download. That checklist is there in the link below. I would recommend you to click on that and download this checklist for your future. So then the next question that I have for you is, how was the authentication done? Do you think that the test is secure and foolproof?
Yes, I felt the test was 100% secure. Credits to ETS for organizing it in such a foolproof and scalable manner. So they've completely secured it. Imagine there are 3 concentric circles. So each of these circles represents a layer of security. So the first circle, we can call it as a outer environment security. So that ensures that there's no one in your room and there's no cheating allowed from the outer level of the room. So for this, they'll use 360-degree verification, in which you'll have to turn around your camera or your webcam to show the entire room. So in this process, they'll know that there's no one in the room and there's no malpractice allowed from the outside. And the second level, you can call it as on-screen security. So they'll ensure that there's no background processes or applications running while the exam is going on. And the third circle, you can call it as an artificial intelligence plus proctor who will be continuously monitoring you. So as a part of this, I also had to give access to record my biometric keystrokes data, which actually checks that if I'm the same person who is giving the test throughout the exam. So if you consider all of this, there's no way of fooling the system, and there's no way of getting it out. If anything goes wrong, proctor can immediately cancel your test. So credits to ETS for organizing it in such a way.
That's pretty clear, Uday. So this proctor, how do you communicate with the proctor? And is the proctor regularly saying what you're doing?
Yeah, we can communicate with, we can talk to the proctor. Proctor will be able to hear us. You'll not be able to see the proctor, but there's also a chat option which you can utilize before the test. But during the test, I didn't find the chat option on the screen. During the test, I started talking, and they were able to listen to me, and they were able to speak back to me.
Okay. So yeah, so that's pretty clear. Now, did you experience any technical difficulties while taking the test?
There was a minor glitch when I was about to start my test. My Wi-Fi connection went out. So when I restarted, I had to do a proctor process all over again before starting my test.
That is, your authentication was done again when you started the test?
Yeah, my authentication was done again before I started the test.
Okay, so does the proctor also help in technical glitches, to solve the technical glitches?
They've also mentioned that there's a technical support available, which fortunately I didn't use it.
Okay. Right. So we wanted to understand this. Since you took the entire GRE, what were the biggest challenges you faced while taking the GRE?
I felt one of the biggest challenges was to sit in the same place for more than 4 hours. So actually the test is for 3 hours 45 minutes, but considering the proctor beginning process, ending process, and the breaks in between, it will be around 4.5 hours also, and sometimes even more than that based on proctor's availability. So I felt that sitting in the same place for a very long time was challenging for me.
Exactly. So sitting in the same place for 4.5 hours is definitely challenging. So for all the subscribers here, for all the viewers here, I recommend you to practice enough GRE style test before you go for your actual GRE. Do not go without enough practice, because no matter how good you are with verbal or quant, if you don't have a lot of practice, it is pretty difficult. So see, to help you out with that, we have mentioned a link in our description. You can click on that and take a GREH diagnostic test. GREH diagnostic test is pretty accurate. Whatever score you get, +3 or -3, you can actually get in the real GRE. So not only one, but you should take a lot of GRE style tests before you go for your actual GRE. That is what is Uday's advice here. So the next question that I have is, Uday, can you take breaks in between?
There is a usual 60-second gap in between each of these sections, but you cannot leave your seat. But once there are totally 6 sections, so once after third section is completed, you'll have an option to choose a 10-minute break. So if you choose to use it, you can move out of your seat and you can go and come back again. But once you come back and when you're starting the test, the authentication happens again. That is the 360-degree verification.
Again, okay. So once you take a break and come back, then the authentication happens again. All right, that's pretty good. Okay. So now coming to the end of the exam, did you have an experimental section too in the test?
Yes, I had an experimental section just like the computer-based test that we used to give previously. So I got a verbal section as an experimental section.
Okay, verbal session is an experimental session. So how did you end the test, Uday? Was there any difference?
No, it was not. There was no difference actually. Once I ended the test, I got my scores, so I was able to see my quant and verbal scores on my screen. And next steps, I can even apply to universities with that score as well, as same as the computer-based test.
Okay, okay. So do you have to tell your proctor when you're going to end your exam?
So once you send out the scores to the universities, you can call out to the proctor, and proctor will respond to you. Here, the proctor will ask you to show your whiteboard or a transparent sheet that you're using, and after that, they'll ask you to erase it in front of them, so that they'll be clear that no information is going out of the test.
Okay, okay. That's pretty clear. So, Uday, out of all the requirements that were there while you were taking the tests, did any of the requirements make you feel odd?
Yeah. So there was one particular requirement, which was I had to carry either a transparent sheet or a whiteboard, which is erasable. So that ETS makes sure that there's no information from the test which is leaking outside. So they'll ask me to erase it even in the end of the exam to make sure of that. So this requirement I felt was a little bit odd, and all the other requirements were pretty simple.
So this is something that is very important, viewers. You please make a note of this. No papers are allowed. No pens are allowed. You need to have a marker and a whiteboard, a marker which is erasable. At the end of the test, the proctor will check if you have erased whatever you have written. This is to ensure security. This is to ensure nothing goes out. So this is also a part of security that ETS and Proctor US followed. Okay, so Uday, one question that we regularly get in our webinars or YouTube posts or blog posts is that, can I cheat in this exam? What is your answer to this?
That's a very good question, actually. I've seen some students, set of students asking these questions in the webinars as well. So ETS has made sure that there's no way you can actually cheat. So they've made it completely foolproof. So there are multiple levels of security that involves artificial intelligence and even digital forensics. So to dumb it down, even when you say, when you move your eyeballs even in a suspicious way, your proctor can immediately cancel your test, who will be seeing you live throughout the exam. So there's no actual way to cheat the exam. So one more thing is the recording of your exam will be sent to the universities as well. So if the universities find anything suspicious, they can immediately cancel your admit also. So instead of looking for these methods, I would suggest that if you prepare for say 150 to 2 hours, if you do a solid preparation, you'll definitely end up having a very good score.
Okay, okay. So I think you have made it very clear for all those who had this question inside your mind. You take it away and throw it. So let's go to the next question. That will be the last question for today's video. Now, this is an advice from you, Uday, because you have given so many webinars, you have interacted with so many aspiring students from the last few years. Should a student take GRE at home, or should they just be in wait and watch mode?
Yes, you should give your GRE now. Given the current situation of coronavirus, it seems ambiguous that what will exactly happen, but things will definitely settle down. So many of you are planning to go for abroad next year as well. So the most important thing is everyone is having time right now. So if you prepare properly, if you utilize this time properly, you'll definitely end up getting a very good score as well. So the second thing that I would like to say is, by the time you complete your graduation after your MS, that will be about 2 to 3 years from now. So all the countries whose economy has been damaged due to the coronavirus right now will start booming again, and there'll be ample amount of opportunities for you to pursue them.
Okay, okay. So yeah, so that's a very clear advice to all of you here. Use the time effectively. Okay, no matter whatever happens, use the time effectively. So that's it from our side today. Thank you, Uday, for sharing your valuable experience in such detail. I am quite sure people here would want to ask questions directly to you. Don't be disappointed. You can ask questions to Uday directly by using the comment option below. Whatever questions you ask there, we'll ensure that we answer all of them. We'll be releasing a lot more videos as well as Instagram posts moving forward. So follow our Instagram page as well as our YouTube channel regularly. So take care of yourself, take care of your family, and most importantly, stay safe.
Yeah, thank you and stay safe, guys.